So what are some of the ways, just to start things off, that men and women are different when it comes to hormones and fat storage and fat loss?
Well, the biggest one probably is that men are not really influenced nearly as much about the two predominant female hormones of estrogen and progesterone. Now, we all have all three of the ones we're going to talk about now, the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. It just so happens that genetically, because of childbirth and being able to have children, that a woman is governed more by estrogen and progesterone. Men have very little of it, and we predominantly are fueled by testosterone. So that right there sets the landscape for a whole different set of metabolic factors that women go through in order to lose weight, because one of the biggest problems that we see in the world today is what we call estrogen dominance. And those of you who follow me know that I talk about this a lot, and I need to talk about it a lot because women need to understand this. What estrogen dominance means is that when the ratio between your two primary hormones of estrogen and progesterone begins to pull further and further apart, it's not how much you have of each, it's how far the ratio is pulling apart from each other, because these two hormones kind of antagonize each other. They counterbalance each other. But what ends up happening a lot of times is because that, one, we live in a world today where we are bombarded with what we call exogenous estrogens. They are in things like anytime you're eating anything that's coming out of a plastic bottle or a plastic container that's been heated up or it's been in the sun, we're leaching estrogen out of there into our system. Most of the plant pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all have exogenous estrogens in them. It's even in some of the cosmetics that a lot of women use are getting exogenous estrogen. So we're being bombarded with a lot more estrogen than a woman's ever seen. So that is one step towards being estrogen dominant right there. Now, the other big one is this: stress. In the Western world, most everybody I work with is carrying too much stress in their life. Now, how this plays into this is that a little hormonal chemistry 101. So your body takes cholesterol from your liver, turns it into a master hormone that's called pregnenolone. Then from pregnenolone, there's a transition, and it's made into what's called progesterone. We call that the mother hormone because of the fact that if it's what gets you pregnant, keeps you pregnant, makes you have a healthy childbirth. Now, from progesterone, all your other steroid hormones can be made. So you can take progesterone and make it into estrogen, or you can take it and make it into something called DHEA, which is then turned into testosterone. But the big one that I wanted to get to was this. So your adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys manufacture a lot of hormones for you to keep you in balance. They're your stress glands. Without them, we would all die. But you've all heard about the flight or fright syndrome, where if back in the day, if you were being chased by a large animal, you needed some hormonal system to kick in that would make you be able to access muscle speed, muscle twitching, fiber at a quick rate, be able to utilize fuel sources. But anyway, that hormone is called cortisol. So, and I know that most of you women have heard about this, because certainly if you've listened to anything that I say, we are concerned about a chronic, mild elevation of cortisol slams the brakes on your body losing any body fat. Your body will not, because it thinks that you're under some type of prolonged stress. So it is not going to break down reserves of energy if we've got cortisol present traveling through our bloodstream, right? Okay, so anyway, back to where we were. So progesterone is what the body uses in order to make cortisol. So if you're stressed and you're already moving into perimenopause, which means you're declining in your progesterone production already anyway, then the little bit of progesterone that you still have is being used to make cortisol. So now we've created this estrogen dominance even further, and we have an excess level of cortisol. So this is where the frustration comes in with a woman who's, say, anywhere between 43 and 65, who is saying, this is just not working for me. I'm even trying low carb stuff and it's not working for me. Well, if we don't get checks and balances around what I just talked about, we're probably not going to get a whole lot of success. Now, on the other hand of that, if we do get that under control, then you're going to have the advantage almost to the point like a man could have when they do the keto and drop a bunch of weight, because they're not dealing with this estrogen and progesterone. But when we get that balanced out, there's a lot of success to be had.